Welcome back. Neil Lennon insists he won't walk away from Celtic despite going 4 league games without a win for the first time in 20 years. They drew 2-2 away at Livingston and had Scott Brown sent off 5 minutes after he came on to leave them 20 points behind rivals Rangers. So plenty to talk about. Let's cross live now to Luke Shanley, who's at Celtic Park for us. Luke.
Very good morning to you, yes, and it's the first time since 1994 that Celtic have failed to win the first 4 games in the league of a calendar year. So not great records, and that is adding to the issue at the minute at Celtic. Delighted to see Mark Wilson, former Celtic defender, is alongside me here at Celtic Park. And Mark, just on last night's game, looking at that, what did you make of it overall?
Well, I thought it was, a little bit better from Celtic performance-wise, but at the same time, much of the same results-wise. I think the most damning thing about last night was a lot of Celtic fans probably expected the result. Years gone by, we all know that Celtic going to play Livingston, you would heavily bank on a Celtic win, but just the way the club are sitting at the minute, the way their performances have been in the field of recent, you expected them to drop points last night, and again the goals conceded were just as much as Celtic fans have came to expect this season.
Yeah, they go 1-0 down. They might have gone 2-0 down, but they did get 2-1 up, and they looked in control, certainly moving the ball about a bit, maybe lacking slightly in terms of penetration. But at that point, is that when you have to kick on? Because there's been incidents like this season, too many draws.
Yeah, well, they've been vulnerable at times, Celtic, and last night they managed to get themselves in front again. But I think there's always a nervousness about Celtic just now, even when they were in control of the game, and they did grow into it, and they were much better. They lacked cutting edge up front. And they've lacked that all season, cutting edge up front to put teams away. And when you don't do that and you're defending the way Celtic are this season, there's always a chance you're going to concede at the other end. And of course,
Charlie,
that's what went on to happen. And in the end, maybe when you look at it and Neil Lennon analyses the game, he'll be thankful that they actually get out there with a point.
Is it made all the more difficult when your captain comes on and gets sent off?
Well, it just sums up the season for Celtic. I mean, Scott Brown has been a terrific player for the club, a terrific servant for the club, but he's fell into the kind of malaise that has affected most of the team this season. And last night was just icing on the cake for Scott. He comes on, and I don't think there's any question. He tries to be a bit cute and turn out the challenge and maybe just leave something on his opponent, which is sometimes you get away with, but last night it was so blatant that Willie Collum wasn't going to miss it, and I think it was a deserved red card.
A lot's been made about Celtic and still having some players out, etc. But Livingston made 7 changes as well for this one.
We've got break.
Should they be getting maybe a bit more credit?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Livingston have been incredible this season. When you think of the turnaround in management and what David Martindale has had to go through personally in the media, he's managed to get his team playing exceptionally well. Very hard to beat. Came to Celtic Park at the weekend. I thought probably should have won. To make 7 changes and for the boys to still have the same reaction is incredibly impressive. And like I said about Neil Lennon, maybe thankful to get out with a point when he analysed the last 5 to 10 minutes of the game. David Martindale probably was frustrated that they didn't win the game, and that speaks volume for Livy.
Looking at the bigger picture then, Neil Lennon was saying after the game, too many draws, etc. Not to us, I have to add, but too many draws. He's frustrated. It maybe sums up the season, but he's a fighter. He wants to fight on. Is that admirable that he wants to do that, or does he now have to start thinking, how do I change this, what do I do?
Well, to be honest, I didn't expect anything less from Neil. I think a lot of people are calling for him to resign, but knowing Neil the way I do, I played under him, I played with him. He's a fantastic leader, and he's a fighter, he's a scrapper. He won't quit, and I certainly didn't expect anything less from his comments last night. But I do think there's a duty of the club from people above him to make the decision. When you look at the results recently and you look back to 22 games and 7 wins, or 8 if you include the Scottish Cup final and penalties, for any Celtic manager that's a tough run of results to survive. And I think Neil will know even himself that historically that hasn't been good enough to keep other Celtic managers. I was here under Tony Mowbray, I played a part in that. I know fine well that the axe falls pretty quickly, and when you add the run of results to the other calamitous things that have happened this season, you can understand why the Celtic fans are calling for change now.
Just finally then, Mark, how does Celtic and Neil Lennon move it on with they don't play this weekend because it's the League Cup semi-finals. They were due to play St Mirren there in the League Cup semi-finals. What does Celtic do with that kind of 10 days before their next game?
Well, they certainly don't leave the country, that's for sure. But they have to get back to the training pitch and they have to get all their players back on it. I think Neil will have a debrief of how this full 10-day or 15-day period has went, and they need to get back to playing good football, because ultimately that's what matters. The Dubai debacle is over now. I think we should move past it, and we hope there's no other things to come out of that. But ultimately it's about results on the park, and after Dubai, Celtic have dropped 6 points within 10 days. That isn't good enough for going to Dubai for a performance enhancing trip. Celtic have to get back to Lennoxtown, work hard, and no matter what they do not drop points next Wednesday against Hamilton here at Celtic Park.
Mark, great to see you. Thank you very much for your time. There we go, Mark Wilson there, the former Celtic defender. Next up for us, live on Sky Sports, is on Wednesday. It's Hibernian against Rangers. That one will be a cracker, no doubt, at Easter Road. Join us for that one now.